By the turn of the century, New York City was the center of the garment industry in the United States, though the industry had spread, as we've said, to every major city. Women in New York, after all, had stitched clothes for slave owners long before the Civil War. Generation after generation of immigrant women had participated in home sewing for contractors and earned scanty wages in the city's workshops. They had experienced the introduction of the sewing machine and watched as it pulled small children into workshops. We saw these in the tenement housing. By the 1880s, the industry had taken on the character that it would have thereafter and that we see in the early 1900s. Family workshops, called outside shops, were diminishing in number. Employers who preferred to pull workers inside into factories where the contracting system persisted and where the race to the bottom continued. The less a garment manufacturer paid his subcontractors, the more the subcontractor reduced the wages of the sewing machine operator and speeded up the work as well. As the sewing machine operator earned less, so the manufacturer's profits rose, and the greater his chances for bidding successfully on the bundles of clothing being distributed. By the early 20th century, the horrible conditions in the industry were public knowledge. Low wages that attracted the newest immigrants. In New York, Jews and Italians dominated the industry with a few Slavic workers thrown in. 6-day work weeks and endless hours during each of 4 seasons, and then unemployment during 6 or 8 week-long between-season stints. 60% of New York's immigrant women in 1900 worked in the garment industry. These women operated sewing machines, they sewed buttons, they basted, cut garments, bound and finished clothing. The men, in contrast, worked at what we might call heavier jobs and were known in the industry as more skilled. They were the cutters, the pressers who handled the hot, heavy irons, and the supervisors. Men, as well as women, might have resonated in those days to Thomas Hood's Song of the Shirt, a poem written in 1843 about horrendous British working conditions. Stitch, stitch, stitch in poverty, hunger, and dirt. Work, work, work as the brain begins to swim till the eyes are heavy and dim. That was the lot of garment workers. Where would they go for help? How would they improve their conditions? Unionization seemed to be the answer for both men and women, and though the law discouraged organizing and did not support collective bargaining, garment workers turned repeatedly and with limited success to trade unions. But there was another answer, too. Let's remember that we are moving now into what historians call the progressive period of American history, a period that began sometime around 1897 after the end of the Depression of 1893 and ended with the First World War. This is a moment in which men and women of goodwill, sometimes called reformers, recognized that the conditions under which poor people lived and worked undermined the efforts of poor families to produce healthy and productive children. These conditions therefore prevented mothers from exercising their natural jobs of creating the next generation of labor and producing an educated citizenry. Many reformers also feared that harsh and unremitting poverty might negate the American dream of getting ahead, that it could eliminate the possibility of social mobility through individual effort. Reformers believed that if such poverty continued to exist, it could deny new Americans the opportunity to live in ways that were consistent with American values of fair and open competition. even poor mothers could, they thought, and should, perpetuate and enrich the home. Discontented people, reformers feared, might begin to rebel.